Coach Tim Sheen's tackling the referee Scott Michalauskas after this one, but it ended with a narrow win for the home side. Catalan 18, Hull Chaos 16. It was 8-all at half time, so a close game throughout. 7,342 were in attendance, and another game on the TV. Not that it was the clearest audio, and all our friends at Sky have apologised profusely for basically not having a microphone that worked, it seems.
Yep, it was fairly dire, wasn't it?
I mean, we've had our sound problems on the Super League pod, but this is free and no one's getting paid.
Yep. Uh,
You got to credit the three blokes on the mic while on the phone that they actually got through it and did their best, because it's probably not their fault that the whatever the recording equipment in the studio that they were all probably sat in with it not working. That's probably not there on them, is it? But
no, no, I
not a
wouldn't have
good
thought.
look.
No.
Do you want to take us
Um,
through the first review?
yep. So Swiss underscore cowboy underscore 78 says, I don't know what was worse, the refs, the game, or the audio. 80 minutes of pain for my ears, my eyes, and my brain. Both teams are in for relegation.
Alan Walker says, still haven't seen us yet, even on telly. Scoreline suggests Carver Rugby ain't back yet. No bubbly with stupid coach Steves. Sharpen the knives 'cause the pigs want their dinner.
And Malkarma Tios says, still winter, man. 2 points in winter.
Yeah, so a bit of Catalan joy from Malkarma. Dave Regan, your friend from of a Hull Kingston Rovers slant though.
Yes, this is Joshua's coach.
Uh, he
One of
said
them.
he said Catalan got lucky with their first try, but then again, Mins should have passed in the first half when he broke through. We had the chances to win it. The ref had a poor game, but he's not important. Garcia played for the obstruction, but the rules promote that. Yeah, that was even more divey than
Carl
than Carl
Ablett.
Ablett's. I mean, Ben Garcia is is the biggest soft bloke I've ever seen. I don't know how else to describe it. It's always he plays like a footballer,
Yeah, always looking for a soft penalty.
which is just terrible because when he does run hard with the ball, it's so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Shoddy Mungo, Alan says, God, this was pretty dire. I think it's fairly certain both of these teams will be in the middle eight, but Le Catalan will be happy to be off the mark.
Yeah, and Tyler Drax fan says Les Drax et his cackle exfik cackle pop cackle nous allons les schweets allez allez cackle cackle.
I'm pleased you got that one.
Basically, that was a comment on the state of the audio during the game. I would expect it was one of the toughest watches I've sat through. Catalan's home games, they're horrible to watch, haven't they, been for about 2 years now?
Yeah, they're not attractive rugby, are they?
Well, when you've got Greg Bird was probably their man of the match, but he's not a halfback, and he didn't play like a halfback. So I don't know. It was there was two really great bits of skill though, wasn't there? One from each side.
Yeah, I only watched the first half because we had friends come round.
And any excuse to not watch the second half was probably well taken.
Yeah, I was kept up to date by Joshua because he'd predicted a draw, so was getting very excited every time the scores were tied again.
The classic Joshua draw.
Yeah,
Well, you'll have seen probably the George Lawler try at the end of the first half with Chris Atkin putting a really great chip through that landed just underneath the post for
yes,
Lawler to collect and score.
absolutely perfect for him to collect, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was great because the first try that the Catalan scored was utter, like, I mean they all count, they're all 4 points, but boy was it symptomatic of just how garbage the game was.
Yeah,
We waited 34 minutes for a try and it was that crap. Um, but yeah, the George Lawler try was brilliant from Atkin, and similarly in the second half, about midway through the second half, young young Alba for the Catalan side did a similar type of kick, but it was out wide for Fuad Yaha to go in and score. He saw that Justin Carney had come in a little bit
yeah.
and timed the kick perfectly, and it was absolutely beautiful, just as good as Atkins' kick. And those two were basically the only good things about this game, I would say.
Apart from the full-time whistle.
Well, yeah, it was not In fact, I missed bits of it as well, making tea and stuff like that, and I didn't feel too dirty for doing that. The talking point after the game, and you won't have seen this, I suppose, if you didn't watch the second half, was the penalty that ultimately was the difference between the two sides. It was one of those that we thought we'd seen the last of until this weekend, where the dummy half throws the ball into a marker who's been left scattered behind the play of the ball, and the referee gives a penalty.
Right, yeah.
Um, so on this occasion, it was Michael McAloran was at dummy half, and I think it was Maurice Blair who kind of got stuck just to his right hand side. Now, Michael McAloran played for the penalty without a shadow of a doubt. He would have thrown a slightly different pass. What I would say in to slight defence of McAloran is that Maurice Blair was in the way. He didn't try to move, and Michael McLaurin threw a pass that would have landed with one of his teammates. It might have bounced to his teammate, but it would have certainly gone in the direction of one of his teammates. So you can sort of understand the decision that the referees gave, but as a penalty. But it's not pleasant that a game seems to have been decided by that. Now, I don't actually think that it was necessarily decisive, even though it appears that way, because I do think Catalan were probably the stronger side. They certainly were made a lot more meters, and they would have had other opportunities to take some sort of pop at goal in some form or other. I would have thought if it wasn't this one. So I wouldn't say a well-deserved win, but
But a win.
I'd say the better team won.
Yeah.
In terms of the stats, they kind of back that up. Catalan had a bit more ball. That was mostly helped by an 11-7 penalty count in their favour, but you don't win a lot of penalty counts away from home. That's across the board. And had 0.9 metres per carry better average gain and 316 more total metres. Now that's quite a big margin. Hull KR did make more breaks, 4-2, and had fewer errors, 7-10, and had a better team tackle success. But discipline was decisive in a game where actually one important stat was the equal most goals were successfully kicked in a Super League game this year in this game. So, a game where you only got 34 points, and yeah, it had the equal most goals.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Still probably better than England France that was on the other channel.
Yeah.
Commentary aside. Individually, Lewis Tierney with a try and 119 metres, Greg Bird with a try assist 130 metres, 3 successful offloads, and Sam Moe with 118 metres for Hull KR. As a team, they weren't great, but individually they did have some good efforts. Justin Carney, one try, 7 tackle balls, 170 metres, 2 clean breaks. He well looked up for it. There was one really good piece of play where he took a kick and went straight into a sprint and made 30-40 metres up the field. That was one of the highlights of few. Chris Clarkson, 42 tackles. Thomas Mins, 139 metres. And Andrew Heffernan, 146 metres. He looks good, doesn't he, this Heffernan?
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you seen any of him other than the TV?
No, not seen any of Rovers apart from really the TV this
So
year.
you've not been dragged down there with a free ticket or anything yet this season?
No.
Well, anyway, thanks to Dave, your friend, for getting in touch. It's good to have some Hull KR fans getting involved.
Yep.
Okay, Sunday's games now. There were 2 games to finish it off. We don't have a lot of feedback on these, so we'll probably get through them relatively quickly. And we start with Wigan 30, Wakefield 18, in front of just shy of 11,500. Chris Kendall was the referee, and I've got to say, it didn't impress me very much. He let a lot of lying on occur in this game, and I'm not saying it was one side or the other. It was both ways. I don't think he was very good. White Pie got in touch with a fan review though, didn't he? Or she? I
Yep.
think it's a he.
Said another poor first half from Wigan, but a stronger second half earned the points despite things not clicking for much of the game. Williams was poor and needs to buck up as he's kirsting for me.
Yeah, I think most Wigan fans would agree that Williams for a second game in a row was a bit underwhelming in this one. It was 12-10 to Wakefield at half time, so for a second week in a row, Wigan came back with a really strong second half at home. They were the better side in the end, but Wakefield for the first 20 minutes were playing really glorious, error-free, flowing rugby league, and every player knew exactly where they needed to be, and every player hit all their lines at great speed, no fall off in skill, and I thought that this was going to be a really good but tough game for us to get over and win, especially as we made a few mistakes. I mean, Sam Tompkins got credit with 4 try assists and was really, really good for Wigan going forward. Stayed at fullback for the whole game this time. With when Morgan Esquire came on, he went to stand off and also added a bit of spark still. So that was a new twist to that combination situation we've got going on, but it was an exciting one. But Tompkins, Wigan fans might say, should have had 5 try assists because one of because the first try for Wakefield really was a poor decision made by Sam Tompkins. Is not one for wanting to run back and make collision. He gets a lot of abuse from the Wigan fans for being lazy and soft at that, but he tried to throw a pass into the ever willing Tom Davies, who spilled it because it was a terrible, stupid pass. And that set up the position for Ben Jones Bishop's first try. Wakefield had a try maybe harshly ruled out for a forward pass according to their fans. Now I think their second try was definitely a forward pass from Reece Lynn to Ben Jones Bishop from the angle I was at, so maybe these things even themselves out over the course of things. Wigan, and it would be remiss of me not to mention it, Wigan have got a problem on their left edge defence. The golden edge was not clicking despite Joe Burgess scoring a hat-trick in attack or defence, really. And particularly in defence, Joe Burgess and Oliver Gildart found themselves getting pulled infield really far, really often. So that's one to watch out for Castleford's attack. They might want to be looking at that, and down the line, Wigan fans all walking out the stadium were already worried about the Saints derby, and now that's going to go for us. I mean, we're already thinking 3 games ahead. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves there, but yeah. But ultimately, Wigan were the better team. I don't think we had any huge standout performers necessarily, other than the guys I'm going to mention from the stats sheet. So I'll run through them now, unless you've seen any highlights or anything you want to pick up
No,
on.
I have. I've only seen what people have posted on social media.
Fair enough, fair enough. So, there wasn't loads to choose between the sides on the stats in a game that was low on offloads and low on tackle success rate for both teams, which was disappointing. It was an even clean break and penalty count. Wakey had a couple more errors and Wigan tackled marginally better. The biggest difference was that from fewer overall carries, Wigan made 122 more metres at an impressive 1.1 metres per carry better average gain. So Wigan were doing a lot more with the ball they had, and actually before I do these players out on the stats list, I should mention I thought Ben Flower was absolutely exceptional, restricting the big men for Wakefield, who are really impressive, and also in the second half his carries were very strong too. Joe Burgess grabbed 3 tries, 3 tackle busts, and 6 tackle busts, and 3 clean breaks. Tom Davies, ever reliable it seems these days, 1 try and 144 metres. John Bateman, 155 metres from centre. He looked a little bit more threatening in this one. As well, so maybe his run at centre will continue. Sam Tompkins 4 try assists for Wakefield. There wasn't too many strong performers in terms of the guys that didn't make the stats roundup. Tyler Randall came back from injury. He looked quite lively. Matty Ashurst, who I thought was banned for this game, turns out he wasn't, and he was one of their stronger performers, but only in patches, not consistently. Ben Jones Bishop, though, 2 tries, 126 metres and 4 clean breaks. Reece Lynn, 2 try assists for those 2 tries and 102 metres. So that right edge of theirs was potent this time, but it's hard to stop Wakefield's wingers scoring. Both sides are very good at scoring tries.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the Castleford versus Salford game, the last game of the weekend. It was pretty much all over at half-time with a 20-0 scoreline to the hosts. It finished 22-8, so Salford won the second half handsomely in front of just short of 7,500. Liam Moore was the referee of this one, and we had the one fan review.
Yep, Fat Boy Rob got in touch and said a dominant first half with the champions going into a 20-point lead. Ollie was lucky not to get a red card for a spear tackle. To his credit, the Salford player was up quickly, which saved Herms. Salford played better second half, but they gave away too many penalties to get back into it. They really are a dirty, grubby side, especially Tompkins and Louis. Watching Milo smash Tompkins to the ground WWE style was a delight.
Yeah, I think that was when the radio commentary must have, well, when I got back to the car, they'd switched the radio commentary over to the Salford game on Manchester radio, and that was basically where we got in at the
Right.
sin bin in. yeah, Oliver Holmes has got a grade D charge, I think, to go and